Hello, I'm SA, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The scholars of Baghdad, during the flourishing of the Islamic Golden Age, faced an immense undertaking: the preservation and expansion of the scientific and mathematical knowledge inherited from the Greeks. This was an era of profound intellectual ferment, a time when ancient wisdom was not only safeguarded but also meticulously translated, analyzed, and augmented. The very act of translation presented formidable obstacles. The subtle nuances of Greek philosophical and scientific texts were often obscured by linguistic barriers. The availability of source materials was at times precarious, requiring arduous journeys to secure manuscripts. Furthermore, the task demanded a delicate balance, preserving the original intent of the authors while simultaneously adapting the knowledge to a new cultural and intellectual context. Among the most important figures contributing to this intellectual renaissance was Omar Ibn al-Farrukhan, a scholar whose work exemplifies the spirit of inquiry that characterized the period. His life, dedicated to the transmission and advancement of scientific knowledge, serves as a lens through which we can examine the complex interplay of cultures, the challenges of translation, and the evolution of scientific thought. Al-Farrukhan's significance lies not merely in his contributions, but in his role as a bridge, connecting the ancient world with the burgeoning scientific advancements of his time. Little is known definitively about Al-Farrukhan's early life. However, the intellectual environment in which he was educated provides a crucial context for understanding his later work. He was likely born in the early 9th century, probably in Persia, a region that served as a vital crossroads for the exchange of ideas between East and West. His training would have encompassed a wide range of disciplines, reflecting the holistic approach to knowledge that was characteristic of the time. The curriculum would have included mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and probably medicine, all viewed as interconnected facets of a single, unified system of understanding the universe. The education of scholars like Al-Farrukhan was a rigorous and demanding process. It required mastery of multiple languages, including Greek, Syriac, and Arabic. Students immersed themselves in the study of classical texts, often working directly with original manuscripts. The process of translation itself was a collaborative endeavor involving teams of scholars who worked meticulously to render the original texts accurately. The challenges inherent in this process were considerable. The Greek language, with its complex grammatical structures and philosophical subtleties, presented significant hurdles. The availability of reliable manuscripts was often a limiting factor. Scholars had to travel great distances, sometimes at considerable personal risk, to locate and acquire the texts they needed. The preservation of knowledge was a primary concern. Copies had to be made, and the texts had to be carefully preserved to ensure that they would survive for future generations. The translation movement was driven by a deep-seated belief in the value of knowledge and a conviction that the pursuit of learning was a sacred duty. The scholars of this era saw themselves as custodians of ancient wisdom, responsible for transmitting it to the present and expanding upon it for the future. Their efforts were supported by the ruling elite, who recognized the importance of scientific and intellectual advancement for the prosperity and prestige of the empire. Libraries and observatories were established, and scholars were provided with the resources they needed to pursue their research. Al-Farrukhan's work exemplifies the intellectual spirit of this era. He did not simply translate Greek texts, he engaged with them critically, seeking to understand their underlying principles and to apply them to new problems. He was part of a larger effort to synthesize the knowledge of different cultures, drawing upon Greek, Indian, and Persian traditions to create a comprehensive understanding of the universe. The primary focus of Al-Farrukhan's intellectual endeavors lay in the realm of astrology and astronomy. These two disciplines were closely intertwined during this period, with astrology often serving as a practical application of astronomical knowledge. Al-Farrukhan's work, like that of many of his contemporaries, built upon the foundations laid by the Greeks, particularly the works of Ptolemy. However, he also incorporated elements from Indian and Persian traditions, creating a unique synthesis of knowledge. The influence of Indian astronomy, in particular, was significant. Indian astronomers had developed sophisticated methods for calculating planetary positions and predicting celestial events. These methods, which often relied on trigonometric techniques, were adopted and adapted by Islamic scholars. The integration of Indian astronomical knowledge into the existing framework of Greek science represented an important step forward in the development of astronomy. The overall goal of this exploration is to examine Al-Farrukhan's contributions to the transmission and advancement of scientific knowledge during the Islamic Golden Age. The focus will be on the problems he addressed, the solutions he proposed, and the enduring impact of his work. It will also explore the historical context in which he worked, the intellectual influences that shaped his thought, and the legacy he left behind. It is through a close examination of his life and work that we can gain a deeper appreciation for the richness and complexity of this remarkable period in the history of science. His work, a melding of diverse traditions, offers a window into the intellectual landscape of his time, a time of significant scientific and mathematical advancements. The intellectual currents of the era, particularly within the burgeoning Islamic world, provided fertile ground for the cultivation of diverse forms of knowledge, including astrology. This was the environment in which Omar Ibn al-Farrukhan, a scholar whose contributions would resonate through centuries, began his work. His era witnessed a remarkable confluence of intellectual traditions. The Hellenistic legacy, with its emphasis on reason and observation, merged with the mathematical prowess of the Indian subcontinent and the practical astronomical knowledge of the Persians. Al-Farrukhan, situated at this nexus, sought to synthesize these disparate elements into a coherent astrological framework. The challenge confronting Al-Farrukhan and his contemporaries was the lack of a unified astrological system. Numerous traditions, each with its own methodologies, interpretations, and often conflicting claims, coexisted. Greek astrology, with its emphasis on planetary influences and the zodiacal signs, provided a foundational structure. Persian astrology, with its rich symbolism and emphasis on celestial cycles, offered another layer of complexity. Furthermore, Indian astronomical practices, including the use of advanced mathematical techniques and the incorporation of lunar mansions, added yet another dimension. The sheer diversity presented a significant hurdle. Astrologers struggled to reconcile these divergent approaches, and the absence of standardization led to inconsistencies in predictions and interpretations. This lack of a cohesive system undermined the credibility of astrology, making it difficult to establish its scientific validity. Al-Farrukhan's response to this intellectual fragmentation was to endeavor to systematize astrological knowledge. He recognized the need for a more rigorous and consistent approach. His approach involved several key strategies. One was a meticulous study and comparison of existing astrological traditions. He examined the Greek texts, the Persian treatises, and the Indian astronomical works, identifying their strengths, weaknesses, and points of convergence. This comparative analysis allowed him to discern common principles and to reconcile seemingly contradictory ideas. He didn't merely accept these traditions, he critically evaluated them, seeking to refine and improve upon them. A second crucial element of his work was the development of new methods for calculating planetary positions and interpreting astrological charts. He recognized that the accuracy of astrological predictions depended on the precision of astronomical calculations. To this end, he likely employed, and perhaps even advanced, existing mathematical techniques, particularly those involving trigonometry and spherical astronomy. These mathematical tools were essential for determining the positions of the planets at any given time and for constructing accurate astrological charts. The ability to accurately calculate planetary positions was central to the entire astrological enterprise. The integration of mathematical principles marked a significant shift in astrological practice. Al-Farrukhan understood that astrology, to be taken seriously, required a foundation in mathematics. This emphasis on mathematical precision distinguished his approach from earlier, more intuitive or symbolic forms of astrology. He understood the importance of creating a framework that could be replicated and tested, moving away from subjective interpretations towards a more objective and quantifiable system. The use of trigonometry, for example, would have been crucial for solving the complex geometric problems involved in determining planetary positions. Spherical astronomy, the study of celestial objects on a sphere, provided the necessary framework for understanding the movements of the planets in relation to the Earth. The application of these mathematical tools allowed Al-Farrukhan to develop more accurate and reliable astrological charts. He may have also developed new methods for interpreting these charts, incorporating mathematical formulas and algorithms to derive astrological predictions. The focus on the mathematical underpinnings of astrological calculations further distinguished his work. He was not content with simply applying existing astrological techniques. He sought to understand the underlying mathematical principles that govern them. This emphasis on the mathematical foundations of astrology was a hallmark of his approach. It reflected the broader intellectual trend of the time, which emphasized the importance of reason, observation, and mathematical precision in all fields of knowledge. While the specifics of his methods are sometimes lost to time, the impact is clear. His work contributed to a greater understanding of the mathematical relationships between celestial bodies and their perceived influence on earthly affairs. This methodical approach, which prioritized accuracy and consistency, helped to elevate the status of astrology as a subject worthy of intellectual inquiry. The historical significance of Al-Farrukhan's work extends beyond the immediate realm of astrology. His efforts to systematize astrological knowledge and to integrate it with mathematical principles helped to shape the development of astronomy. The methods he employed, the emphasis on accuracy and the integration of diverse traditions laid the groundwork for future advancements in celestial studies. His work serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of knowledge and the importance of synthesizing different intellectual traditions. The quest for standardization and accuracy, a hallmark of al-Farrukhan's era, echoes in modern scientific practices. Today, scientists strive for precision, repeatability, and the development of universal laws. Al-Farrukhan's pursuit of a more rigorous astrological system parallels the modern scientific approach. He was, in essence, attempting to create a predictive model, a framework for understanding the universe using the tools and knowledge available to him. His work, therefore, provides a valuable lesson about the evolution of scientific thought and the enduring human desire to understand the cosmos. It stands as a testament to the power of intellectual curiosity and the importance of synthesizing diverse perspectives in the pursuit of knowledge. His legacy resides in the meticulous approach to integrating disparate astrological traditions, laying the groundwork for future generations of scholars to build upon. The intellectual landscape of al-Farrukhan's world was not solely defined by the synthesis of astrological traditions. It was also shaped by a fervent desire for enhanced precision in astronomical observation. The existing methods, while offering a framework, were often plagued by inaccuracies. These errors, arising from limitations in instruments and observational techniques, hindered the ability to accurately predict celestial events. The consequences extended beyond the purely academic realm. Precise astronomical knowledge was vital for navigation, calendar regulation, and even the practical application of astrology, which, in that era, profoundly influenced societal decisions. The instruments available to astronomers of the time, such as the astrolabe, the quadrant, and the sundial, were fundamental to their work. Al-Farrukhan's contributions extended to a meticulous analysis of these tools. He understood that the accuracy of any observation hinged upon the precision of the instrument used. The astrolabe, a portable model of the celestial sphere, allowed astronomers to determine the time, the position of celestial bodies, and to perform various astronomical calculations. Al-Farrukhan's work likely involved refining the astrolabe's design, perhaps by improving its graduated scales, the accuracy of its sighting mechanisms, or the precision of its internal components. The quadrant, another essential instrument, was utilized to measure the altitude of celestial objects. By carefully constructing and calibrating quadrants, al-Farrukhan could significantly enhance the accuracy of altitude measurements. This, in turn, improved the precision of determining the positions of stars, planets, and the sun. Sundials, though seemingly simple, also required careful construction and calibration to provide accurate timekeeping. Al-Farrukhan's attention to detail and his understanding of the mathematical principles governing these instruments would have allowed him to optimize their performance. Beyond the instruments themselves, al-Farrukhan's observational techniques are equally significant. He was, after all, an active observer of the heavens. He likely devoted considerable time to observing celestial events, meticulously recording his findings. The goal was to generate more accurate astronomical tables. These tables, which contained the positions of celestial objects over time, were essential for astrological predictions, navigation, and the construction of calendars. The existing tables were often based on observations performed centuries prior. Al-Farrukhan recognized that these tables needed to be updated and refined. The process of compiling accurate astronomical tables was arduous. It required repeated observations, careful measurements, and a deep understanding of the underlying mathematical principles. Al-Farrukhan's work likely involved correcting errors in existing tables, incorporating new observations, and developing improved methods for calculating the positions of celestial bodies. He would have been deeply familiar with the motions of the planets, the sun, and the moon. He would have understood the complexities of their orbits and the various factors that can influence their apparent positions in the sky. The compilation of accurate astronomical tables was, at its core, a mathematical undertaking. Al-Farrukhan relied heavily on mathematical techniques to analyze his observations and to make predictions about the movements of celestial bodies. His use of trigonometry and spherical geometry, which will be analyzed in the next section, was crucial for converting observations into meaningful data. He would have employed these tools to calculate the positions of planets, to correct for the effects of the Earth's rotation and orbit, and to account for the phenomenon of parallax, the apparent shift in the position of an object when viewed from different locations. The mathematical techniques also played a pivotal role in improving the accuracy of the instruments themselves. For instance, the design and calibration of astrolabes and quadrants relied on a profound understanding of geometry and trigonometry. Al-Farrukhan's work would have involved applying these mathematical principles to ensure that his instruments provided accurate and reliable measurements. He might have developed new methods for calibrating these instruments or for correcting for any inherent errors in their design. The importance of astronomical instruments and observational techniques continues to resonate today. In contemporary space exploration, the accuracy of instruments remains paramount. Telescopes, satellites, and other sophisticated tools are used to observe the universe. These instruments, developed using advanced technologies, allow us to gather data about the composition, evolution, and dynamics of celestial objects. The techniques used to analyze this data rely on the same fundamental mathematical principles that Al-Farrakhan employed centuries ago. The development of scientific instruments involves a continuous process of refinement and improvement. Scientists and engineers are constantly striving to create instruments that are more accurate, more sensitive, and capable of gathering more data. The pursuit of precision, a cornerstone of modern scientific practice, is a direct descendant of the efforts of astronomers like Al-Farrakhan. Al-Farrakhan's meticulous approach to observation and his dedication to improving the tools of his trade laid the groundwork for future generations of astronomers. The legacy of Al-Farrakhan's work is apparent in the precision with which we now understand the universe. His efforts to improve astronomical instruments and observational techniques contributed to the development of more accurate astronomical tables, which in turn facilitated advances in navigation, calendar regulation, and the study of celestial mechanics. His commitment to accuracy and his understanding of the importance of mathematical principles in astronomical observation serve as a powerful example of the enduring human quest to understand the cosmos. The next part of this essay will explore the mathematical underpinnings of Al-Farrakhan's astronomical work. It'll delve into his contributions to trigonometry and spherical geometry, demonstrating how these mathematical tools were essential for solving astronomical problems and improving the accuracy of his calculations. This will offer insight into the sophisticated mathematical framework that underpinned his observational endeavors and how he built upon the knowledge of his predecessors. The pursuit of astronomical precision, which drove Al-Farrakhan's observational efforts, demanded a robust mathematical foundation. The existing astronomical models, while functional, often relied on approximations and geometrical constructions that limited their accuracy. To overcome these limitations, Al-Farrakhan delved deeply into the mathematical tools available to him, particularly trigonometry and spherical geometry, refining their application to astronomical problems. The challenge of the era was to achieve increasingly accurate calculations for celestial positions, predicting phenomena such as eclipses, and constructing more precise astronomical tables. Al-Farrakhan met this challenge by embracing and extending the mathematical heritage that he had inherited, transforming it into a powerful instrument for astronomical inquiry. Trigonometry, the study of the relationships between angles and sides of triangles, was a crucial element in Al-Farrakhan's work. He built upon the foundations laid by the ancient Greeks, who had developed rudimentary trigonometric concepts, and the Indian mathematicians who introduced the sine function and began to systematize trigonometric tables. Al-Farrakhan, however, recognized the potential of trigonometry to solve a range of astronomical problems that had previously been intractable. He skillfully employed trigonometric functions such as sine, cosine, and tangent, which relate the angles of a triangle to the lengths of its sides to calculate the positions of celestial bodies with greater accuracy than previously possible. He understood that accurate astronomical calculations hinged on precise angular measurements, and trigonometry provided the means to translate these measurements into distances and positions in the sky. Spherical geometry, the geometry of the sphere, was another area where Al-Farrakhan made significant contributions. The celestial sphere, the imaginary sphere upon which the stars appear to be fixed, presented unique geometrical challenges. Unlike plane geometry, which applies to flat surfaces, spherical geometry deals with the curved surface of a sphere. The positions of stars and planets are projected onto the sphere, and their movements are described in terms of arcs and angles on its surface. Al-Farrakhan understood that to accurately model the movements of celestial objects, he had to master the principles of spherical geometry. He utilized spherical trigonometry, which applies trigonometric functions to the relationships between angles and sides of spherical triangles, to solve complex astronomical problems. He skillfully used spherical triangles, which are formed by the intersection of great circles on the celestial sphere, to calculate distances, angles, and the positions of celestial objects. His methods extended beyond simple calculations. He grappled with the intricacies of celestial coordinate systems, applying his knowledge of spherical geometry to convert between different systems. He understood that the apparent position of a celestial object changes depending on the observer's location and the time of observation. To account for these factors, he employed complex calculations involving spherical triangles and trigonometric functions to transform coordinates from one system to another. This ability to navigate between different coordinate systems was essential for comparing observations made at different locations and times, allowing for a more comprehensive understanding of celestial movements. Al-Farrakhan's work on spherical geometry was particularly critical in addressing the challenges posed by the Earth's curvature. The ancient Greeks had recognized that the Earth was spherical, and this understanding was further developed during the Islamic Golden Age. However, the effects of the Earth's curvature on astronomical observations needed to be meticulously accounted for. Al-Farrukhan utilized spherical geometry to correct for these effects, ensuring that his calculations were as accurate as possible. This involved considering the observer's position on the Earth's surface and accounting for the parallax, the apparent shift in the position of a celestial object when viewed from different locations. He did not work in isolation, but rather built on the work of earlier mathematicians and astronomers. He was familiar with the works of Ptolemy, whose Almagest asterisk served as the primary astronomical text for centuries, and he incorporated Ptolemy's geometrical models into his own work. However, he also recognized the limitations of Ptolemy's models and sought to improve them through more accurate observations and more sophisticated mathematical techniques. He refined Ptolemy's models of planetary motion, adjusting the parameters to better fit observed data. He also drew inspiration from Indian mathematicians, integrating their advancements in trigonometry and numerical methods into his own astronomical calculations. He synthesized the knowledge of his predecessors, adding his own insights to create a more accurate and comprehensive understanding of the cosmos. The improvements in accuracy that Al-Farrukhan achieved through his mathematical methods were not merely academic. They had practical implications for a range of activities. Accurate astronomical tables were essential for navigation, allowing sailors to determine their position at sea by observing the positions of celestial bodies. Precise calendar regulation depended on the ability to predict the movements of the sun and moon, and Al-Farrukhan's work contributed to the development of more accurate calendars. His calculations also played a role in astrological predictions, although his approach to astrology was grounded in a scientific understanding of the cosmos. The enduring relevance of trigonometry and spherical geometry, the tools that Al-Farrukhan so skillfully employed, is undeniable. These mathematical techniques remain fundamental to astronomy, navigation, and engineering. Astronomers continue to use trigonometry and spherical geometry to calculate the positions of celestial objects, to model the movements of planets and stars, and to understand the structure of the universe. Navigators rely on these same principles to determine their position at sea or in the air, using instruments such as sextants and GPS systems to measure angles and distances. Engineers use trigonometry and spherical geometry to design and build structures, from bridges and buildings to spacecraft and satellites. The methods that Al-Farrukhan developed and applied during the Islamic Golden Age continue to be taught in schools and universities around the world. Students learn about sine, cosine, tangent, and the properties of spherical triangles, often unaware of the historical roots of these concepts. The enduring power of these mathematical tools lies in their ability to describe and predict the behavior of the world around us. Al-Farrukhan's work serves as a testament to the power of mathematics to unlock the secrets of the universe and to improve human understanding of the cosmos. His legacy is a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is a collaborative endeavor built on the foundations laid by those who came before, and that the tools of mathematics are essential for unraveling the mysteries of the universe. The echoes of Omar Ibn al-Farrukhan's intellectual endeavors resonate through the centuries, a testament to the enduring power of rigorous inquiry and the profound impact of cultural exchange during the Islamic Golden Age. His contributions, spanning the realms of astrology, astronomy, and mathematics, represent a crucial bridge between antiquity and the nascent scientific methodologies that would come to define the modern era. Examining his legacy allows us to appreciate a pivotal figure, a man whose work helped preserve, translate, and ultimately advance the scientific understanding of the cosmos. Al-Farrukhan's influence radiates from his deep engagement with the Hellenistic tradition, particularly the works of Ptolemy and other luminaries of the Alexandrian school. He did more than merely absorb these ideas. He actively refined and expanded upon them, integrating them with the mathematical and observational techniques of the Indian tradition. This synthesis, a hallmark of the intellectual vibrancy of his time, produced a body of work that was both deeply rooted in the past and boldly forward-looking. The astronomical tables he compiled, for instance, drew upon the Ptolemaic model, yet they incorporated novel methods for calculating planetary positions and predicting celestial events. These tables, meticulous in their detail and accuracy, served as essential tools for astronomers and astrologers alike, shaping the understanding of the heavens for generations to come. His mathematical prowess was equally significant. Al-Farrukhan possessed a profound understanding of trigonometry, which was essential for his astronomical calculations. The spherical geometry, vital for mapping the celestial sphere, found practical application in his astrological work. He was adept at applying these mathematical principles to solve complex problems, from determining the positions of stars to constructing accurate astrological charts. His contributions to the development and refinement of these mathematical tools are a crucial aspect of his legacy. The methods he employed, the precision he demanded, and the clarity of his explanations helped to establish a standard of mathematical rigor that influenced scholars for centuries. The very foundation of our modern understanding of celestial mechanics owes a debt to his work. The significance of al-Farrukhan's work also lies in its contribution to the preservation and dissemination of knowledge. He was a key figure in the translation movement that flourished in Baghdad, ensuring that the wisdom of the ancient world was not lost. He translated and commented on Greek and Indian texts, making them accessible to a wider audience of scholars and scientists. This act of preservation was crucial for the transmission of knowledge. By safeguarding these texts, he provided the raw material for future generations of thinkers, allowing them to build upon the foundations laid by earlier civilizations. His dedication to translation and his meticulous approach to scholarship ensured that the insights of the past were not only preserved, but also critically examined and adapted to new contexts. The impact of al-Farrukhan's work extends beyond the specific scientific and mathematical achievements. His approach to investigation, his insistence on empirical observation, and his emphasis on rigorous mathematical analysis set a precedent for scientific inquiry. He understood the importance of testing hypotheses, of refining models based on observation, and of using mathematics as a tool to understand the natural world. This methodology, a hallmark of the scientific spirit, helped to lay the groundwork for the development of modern science. His scientific approach, emphasizing observation and mathematical modeling, was a cornerstone of his work. The influence of al-Farrukhan's work is evident in the scientific and intellectual achievements of the scholars who followed him. His astronomical tables, for example, were widely used and adapted by later astronomers. His mathematical techniques were studied and refined. His emphasis on empirical observation and rigorous analysis influenced the development of scientific methodology throughout the Islamic world and beyond. The transmission of knowledge, the emphasis on mathematical precision, and the spirit of intellectual curiosity that characterized his work helped to shape the course of scientific inquiry. The legacy of al-Farrukhan is also a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of cultures and the importance of intellectual exchange. His work, which drew upon the knowledge of Greek, Indian, and Islamic scholars, illustrates the power of collaboration and the benefits of cross-cultural dialogue. The Islamic Golden Age was a period of remarkable intellectual and scientific innovation, fostered by a spirit of openness and a commitment to learning. Al-Farrukhan's work embodies this spirit, demonstrating the profound impact that can result when diverse traditions converge. In conclusion, Omar Ibn al-Farrukhan stands as a towering figure in the history of science and mathematics. His contributions to astrology, astronomy, and mathematics were profound, and his influence on subsequent generations of scholars was undeniable. He was a key figure in the translation movement, ensuring that the knowledge of the ancient world was preserved and disseminated. His emphasis on empirical observation and rigorous mathematical analysis helped to lay the groundwork for the development of modern science. His work serves as a testament to the power of human intellect, the importance of cultural exchange, and the enduring legacy of the Islamic Golden Age. The precision of his calculations, the breadth of his knowledge, and the clarity of his thought make him a figure worthy of continued study and admiration. His work serves as a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is a collaborative endeavor built on the foundations laid by those who came before, and that the tools of mathematics are essential for unraveling the mysteries of the universe.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.